Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm about to tell you how my own son tried to steal my life while I was fighting for it in a hospital bed. I pushed open my front door, still weak from a month-long battle with pneumonia that nearly killed me. The doctors said I was lucky to be alive. I didn't feel lucky when I saw a stranger sitting on my couch. "Who are you?" I asked, gripping my cane. The woman looked up from her phone. "I'm Lisa Reynolds. I live here now. Who are you?" "I'm Eric Morrison. This is my house. I've lived here for 30 years. She stood up, looking confused. "That's impossible. My husband bought this place from Brandon Morrison last month. We have the deed." My blood ran cold. "Brandon? My son Brandon?" "Yes," she said slowly. "He said his father passed away and he inherited the property." I felt dizzy. "I'm standing right here. I didn't die and I sure as hell didn't sell my house." That's when my phone rang. My sister, Margaret. "Eric, thank God you're out of the hospital. I've been trying to reach Brandon. Something's wrong with your bank accounts." "Margaret, I'm at the house. There's a stranger here claiming she owns it." "What? I'm coming over right now." 20 minutes later, Margaret arrived with her lawyer, Robert Chen. The woman, Lisa, called her husband Brandon. My son walked in and his face went white when he saw me. "Dad," he stammered. You're alive." "Did you expect me to die, Brandon?" I asked coldly. Robert stepped forward. "Mr. Morrison, I'm Robert Chen, your sister's attorney. I think we need to have a serious conversation about what's happened here." Brandon's hands shook. "Dad, I can explain." "Explain how you sold my house while I was unconscious in the ICU?" My voice rose. "Explain how you told people I was dead?" Lisa gasped. "Brandon, you said your father died of pneumonia." "He was dying!" Brandon shouted. "The doctor said he probably wouldn't make it. I had gambling debts, serious debts. These people were going to kill me if I didn't pay them $50,000. Margaret's face hardened. "So you decided to steal your father's house?" "I forged a power of attorney," Brandon admitted, his voice breaking. "I transferred the deed to myself, then sold it to Lisa and her husband for $200,000. I paid off my debts and kept the rest." Robert pulled out his phone. "Mr. Morrison, I'm recording this with your permission. Brandon just confessed to forgery, fraud, and elder abuse." "I have your permission, Robert," I said firmly. Brandon's eyes widened. "Dad, please. I was desperate. Those loan sharks were going to hurt me." "So you hurt me instead?" I asked. "You told people I was dead and stole everything I worked for?" Lisa was crying now. "We paid $200,000 for this house. We have a mortgage." "You're victims too," Robert said gently. "Brandon defrauded you both. This sale was illegal from the start." "What happens now?" I asked. Robert looked at Brandon. "Now we call the police, restore Eric's property rights, and let the criminal justice system handle your son." Brandon fell to his knees. "Dad, please don't do this. I'm your son." "You stopped being my son when you wished me dead for money," I said, my voice steady despite my shaking hands. The next morning, I sat in Robert Chen's office with Margaret beside me. "Tell me everything, Robert," I said. "How bad is this?" Robert spread documents across his desk. "Brandon didn't just forge the power of attorney, he also accessed your bank accounts while you were hospitalized. He withdrew $43,000 total." "How?" Margaret demanded. "He had your debit card information, Eric. He made incremental withdrawals and transfers to avoid triggering fraud alerts." I felt sick. I trusted him with my wallet in case of emergencies. "That trust is what he exploited," Robert said quietly. "But here's what we're going to do. First, I've already filed for emergency injunctive relief to void the property sale. Second, I've contacted Detective Sarah Hayes in the fraud division. She's very interested in your case." "Will I get my house back?" I asked. "Absolutely," Robert assured me. "The deed transfer was fraudulent. The sale to the Reynolds family will be nullified. They'll lose their money, but that's not your fault or responsibility. It's Brandon's." Margaret leaned forward. "What about criminal charges? Elder abuse, forgery, fraud, theft. We're looking at serious felony charges. Detective Hayes wants to meet with Eric tomorrow." My phone buzzed. It was Brandon. "Dad, please talk to me. I'll pay everything back. Don't send me to prison." I showed Robert the message. "Don't respond," he advised. "Everything he says can be used in court. Let him panic." "He's my son," I said softly. Margaret grabbed my hand. "He's a criminal who tried to rob you while you were dying. He chose money over you." "She's right," Robert said. "Eric, I've seen cases like this before. Adult children who see aging parents as walking inheritances. Brandon saw you sick and saw an opportunity. That's not love, that's greed." "What about Lisa Reynolds and her husband?" I asked. "I've contacted them through their attorney. They're cooperating fully. They'll testify against Brandon in exchange for not being charged as accomplices. They genuinely believe they were buying the house legally." The next day, Detective Hayes came to Margaret's house where I was staying. Mr. Morrison, I've reviewed your case, she said, sitting across from me. Your son committed multiple felonies. I need you to walk me through everything. I spent 2 hours telling her the whole story. Did Brandon visit you in the hospital? She asked. 3 times. Each time he asked about my will, my bank accounts, whether I'd made any final arrangements. Detective Hayes nodded grimly. He was planning this. Mr. Morrison, I'm going to be blunt. Your son thought you would die, and he started dividing up your estate before your body was even cold. When you survived, he didn't come clean. He hoped you'd die before discovering what he'd done. Can you prove that? Margaret asked. His internet search history. His attorney provided his phone records. Brandon searched, how long can someone survive severe pneumonia, and transferring property from deceased parent 2 days after Eric was admitted to the ICU. I closed my eyes. He was counting down the days until I died. Yes, Detective Hayes said gently. I'm sorry, but you need to understand what kind of person you're dealing with. This wasn't a desperate mistake. This was calculated theft. What happens now? I asked. I'm arresting Brandon tomorrow morning. We have enough evidence for the district attorney to file multiple felony charges. You'll get your property back through the civil courts, and Brandon will face criminal prosecution. How much prison time? Margaret asked. With multiple felonies, prior gambling issues showing a pattern, and the vulnerability of the victim, we're looking at 5 to 10 years, possibly more. Detective Hayes called me 2 days later. We have Brandon in custody. He wants to talk to you. You don't have to agree, but I thought I'd ask. I'll come, I said. I want to hear what he has to say. At the police station, I sat across from Brandon in an interrogation room. Detective Hayes stood in the corner. Brandon looked terrible. His eyes were red, his hands shaking. Dad, thank you for coming. I'm so sorry. I was desperate and stupid and— Stop, I interrupted. I don't want apologies. I want answers. Did you actually think I wouldn't find out? Brandon's voice cracked. I thought you were going to die, Dad. The doctors told me to prepare for the worst. I owe dangerous people money. They were threatening to hurt me. So you hurt me first, I said flatly. I was going to pay you back once I got clean, got my life together, with my money, in my house that you stole. Detective Hayes spoke up. Brandon, your father's medical records show he was improving when you filed the fraudulent power of attorney. His doctors never said he was terminal. Brandon slumped. I know. I panicked. The debt collectors were calling every day. I saw the house, the bank accounts, and I took it. You told Lisa Reynolds I was dead, I said, my voice rising. You didn't just steal from me. You erased me. I'm sorry, Brandon sobbed. I'll plead guilty. I'll cooperate. Just please, Dad, don't testify against me. I'm your son. You forgot that when you forged my signature, I said, standing up. Detective Hayes, I'm ready to give my official statement. Dad, wait, please, I turned back. You wanted me dead, Brandon. You got everything ready for my funeral and started spending my money. Well, I survived, and now you're going to face what you did. I'll lose everything. My wife left me. I'll go to prison. You should have thought about that before you became a thief, I said. Detective Hayes, what do you need from me? She opened her folder. Your testimony about the forged documents, the unauthorized bank withdrawals, and Brandon's behavior during your hospitalization. Dad, please, Brandon begged. Give me another chance. I'm begging you. You had your chance, I said coldly. You had every chance to be honest, to ask for help, to be my son. Instead, you chose to be a criminal. Now face the consequences. Detective Hayes escorted me out while Brandon's sobs echoed behind us. That was hard, she said kindly. No, I replied. Dying alone in a hospital while my son sold my life was hard. This is justice. 3 months later, I sat in Robert Chen's office for the final meeting. Margaret, Detective Hayes, and Lisa Reynolds' attorney were also present. Eric, I have excellent news, Robert began. The judge issued the final order today. Your house is officially restored to you. The fraudulent sale has been voided. What about the Reynolds family? I asked. Lisa's attorney, Mr. Patterson, spoke up. They're filing a civil suit against Brandon to recover their $200,000 plus legal fees. Eric, my clients want you to know they're deeply sorry for the pain this caused. They were victims too, I said. Tell them I understand. Detective Hayes smiled. And I have news from the criminal side. Brandon pleaded guilty to all charges. The judge sentenced him to 8 years in state prison with restitution ordered for all stolen funds. Margaret squeezed my hand. 8 years. He'll be 42 when he gets out. He earned every day of that sentence, Robert said firmly. Elder abuse is taken very seriously in this state, especially when combined with fraud and theft. What about the money he took from my accounts? I asked. The court ordered full restitution of $43,000, Detective Hayes explained. Brandon will have to work prison jobs and pay it back over time. It'll take years, but you'll get every penny. Robert pulled out another document. And I have this. A permanent restraining order. Brandon cannot contact you for 15 years. No calls, no letters, no third-party messages. Good, I said quietly. Margaret looked at me. Are you okay, Eric? Really okay? I'm getting there, I admitted. Some days I mourn the son I thought I had. Then I remember that son never really existed. The real Brandon was willing to bury me for cash. Detective Hayes nodded. You did the right thing. I've worked fraud cases for 12 years, and family cases are always the hardest, but you stood up for yourself when you were at your most vulnerable. Did Brandon say anything at sentencing? I asked. He cried and apologized, Detective Hayes said. He begged the judge for mercy. He said he made a terrible mistake out of desperation. What did the judge say? She smiled slightly. Judge Morrison, no relation to you, said that Brandon had multiple opportunities to confess and didn't take them. She said his mistake wasn't forging documents in desperation. His mistake was getting caught. She wasn't impressed. Robert gathered his papers. Eric, you're completely free. Your house is yours, your accounts are secured, and Brandon can never hurt you again. Is there anything else you need? Just one thing, I said. I want to go home. My real home. That afternoon, Margaret drove me to my house. I unlocked my own front door with my own key and walked into my living room. It feels different, I said, looking around. Because you fought for it, Margaret replied. It's not just your house anymore, it's your victory. My phone rang. Unknown number, I answered. Mr. Morrison? A woman's voice. This is Jennifer from the prison. Brandon Morrison is requesting to add you to his approved call list. Do you accept? No, I said firmly. And I never will. Please note in his file that I have a restraining order, and any contact attempts should be reported to Detective Hayes. Understood, sir. I'll make that note. I hung up and looked at Margaret. He's still trying. He'll never stop trying, she said. But you have the law on your side now. You're protected. I sat down on my couch in my house. You know what the worst part was? Not the theft or the forgery. It was knowing that my own child looked at me dying and saw dollar signs. I know, Margaret said gently. But you survived. You fought back. You won. I did, didn't I? I smiled for the first time in months. I was supposed to die in that hospital. Brandon had already planned my funeral, spent my money, erased my existence, but I lived, and I took back everything he tried to steal. You didn't just take it back, Margaret corrected. You made sure he could never do this to anyone else. 8 years in prison is a long time to think about what he did. Do you think he'll change? I asked. She shook her head. I don't know. And honestly, Eric, it doesn't matter. He's not your problem anymore. You focus on you now, your health, your life, your peace. You're right, I agreed. For the first time in months, I can actually think about my future without wondering who's going to betray me next. That's the spirit, she said. Now, what do you want for dinner? My treat. How about Chinese food? I suggested. From that place on Fifth Avenue, the one Brandon always said was too expensive. Margaret laughed. Perfect choice. We're celebrating your freedom. As she called in the order, I looked around my house. Every room held memories, some painful now, knowing what Brandon had done. But they were my memories, in my home, and nobody could take that away from me ever again. Have you ever faced someone who saw you as an obstacle rather than a person? What would you have done if your own family member tried to steal your life while you were at your most vulnerable?